So, spawning down in the bottom right-hand position. Sorry, bottom left-hand position. Let's get that straight. It is the green Zerg player representing Team Dignitas. None other than Dignitas Tefel. And his opponent up in the top left. It is the blue Protoss player from Fnatic, NightEnd. So, this is some cool times. I'm looking forward to seeing if NightEnd can continue this comeback. I would love to. It would be absolutely amazing. And yeah, if we could see an ace game in the finals, it'd make me a very, very happy caster. And hopefully all of you are a very happy viewer. If you haven't missed any games and you're just joining me now, all of the VODs from today's Go4SC2 will be up on my own YouTube channel, youtube.com/Madals91, where unfortunately I haven't been able to put up any VODs for the previous week because I've had a horrible cold, and that made me sad. Esports was literally killing me, not the other way around. So, anyway, this game, Tefel, surprise, surprise, going for a spawning pool. He'll probably follow that up with a hatchery. And then a gas, where he'll get 100 Vespian, start zerging speed, pull the drones out, skew up a third base, and get out around 10 to 18 zerglings. So now we know what Tefel is going to do. What are we going to see from NightEnd? Because conventional play hasn't really worked. Tefel has just been all over it. So NightEnd went for a beautiful and elegantly constructed 2-base all-in. Immortals and Zealots. He was like, you make Speedlings? I have Zealots for those. You make Roaches? I have Immortals for those. And it was all good. And everything was blissful in the world. And many, the Maya, were very pleased. However, the Swarm got angry. People in my Twitch chat, I see you. You're still unhappy about that all-in, and I can't blame you. Any Zerg player who's ever encountered a 2-base all-in from a Protoss player knows the perils of it. But it's all about scouting, and as Tefel said early on, he saw only the one gas, so he had a suspicion that it was going to be Zealot heavy. But he didn't respond in time. He didn't quite see it in the moment that he needed. Perhaps a couple of Spine Callers would have helped, maybe. Maybe if he could just get a few more Roaches, it would have been enough. But maybe it's the what-ifs, the perhapses will only be for our minds, because that game cannot get replayed unless they decide to go back after this and resume it from replay or something like that, which would be pretty cool. Pro players actually use that, I think, quite a lot. From the ones I've spoken to, they do like doing it, especially they've got practice partners just to experiment with different things. And that's really where having practice partners is so good. So anyway, as it stands at the moment, we do have natural base coming up here for Tefel. Tefel is also approaching that 100 gas mark, ready to start up speed. But over at NightEnd's side, he's just taking a much more conventionally timed gate expand. So this is all good. Everything's happy in the world. And Tefel, once he hits 100 minerals, there we go. Gas goes straight into speed, and things are really going on track for our Zerg player. Meanwhile, NightEnd, he's our Protoss champion, and we definitely want to see an ace game here. So what does he have on the cards? He's going for a Stargate to the back. Previously we've seen him put Stargates in the front, but that makes it very easy to get scouted. So he's keeping it back safe, hoping to catch Tefel by surprise. Game number 1, I believe it was, we saw NightEnd, or was it game 1 or game 2? One of those games anyway. It was on Frost, we saw the Oracle come out, and it didn't manage to do too much, but maybe we'll see something different happen in this game. Perhaps NightEnd can make it do a bit more, and hopefully stunt Tefel from getting into that mid-game where he does look so dominating. 2 additional gates are coming down here, and that is a bit of a tell already of this tech, because Tefel will know from these timings that there is a gateway expand, or it was a gateway expand. So when his Zerglings, 14 of them, do make their way over, he'll see, okay, you've got 2 gates, that means you've got some tech in your main. He's got an Overlord already in a good position, that can just come straight in and try and get a bit of a scout. But that's why the Stargate is positioned right at the back, just to make sure that it's as hard as possible to scout, and it's going to get scouted as late as possible. There's also a proxy pylon coming down here, so we may see a little bit of Zealot play come in, a little bit of gateway pressure onto the third while the Oracle's attacking the natural. That'd be cool to see. But critically, these Speedlings once more coming forward. Sentry is there though, so Fortunes can come down, but this is where Tefel now knows there is some form of tech. The Overlord, I believe, may have just spotted the Oracle, but it depends whether the attention is there or not. A warp in now of a handful of Zealots are coming through. This has all been held off, and Tefel, I think, has realised something is up. A couple of drones already getting sniped now. A little bit frustrating. The Queen will get taken down since there's only one. These Zealots do need to go and get involved in this fight, ideally, just to try and deal with some of this. Second Queen on its way through. The Oracle wins 1v1 versus a Queen. The second Queen forced to be pulled down. But of course, with the Zealots there, it's cool times, but the Oracle must stay alive. That's really important. A few more Zealots are on their way through. Tefel needs these roaches. There's not going to be there quickly enough, though, for his liking. He's got to make sure that he doesn't take too much damage here. Critically, he needs to try and keep those drones up. Forced to trade a couple of lings while the roaches are on their way, but not for too much longer. So this is just for the moment looking all good for Tefel. He's currently only lost 2 workers, which I'd say is fantastic, actually phenomenal for the amount of pressure he's played here. But Zealots, are they going to be able to do much more? Well, probably not. They are getting shut down. There's a few more getting walked through, but they're just not dealing lasting damage. They're picking up a couple of units, but it's the drones that need to be killed. The Oracle could also help with this, but while the Queen's threatening, probably won't be able to do so. Good little movement of those roaches will protect a lot more of those drones. Still only 3 of these killed, and with so many roaches, this push, unfortunately for NightEnd, has been shut down. And it didn't deal the damage that I think was really like. Yes, the worker count is lower than it would have been due to how many units have been thrown out, but still wasn't enough. With 7 workers killed, maybe NightEnd is at an equal worker count, but he's got to have a follow-up. And that's what was lacking, unfortunately. It was all through those Zealots. So NightEnd's got a huge amount of gas banked, and he needs to spend that pretty quick. And getting robotics for this is one way that he can start doing that. So the Oracle's still alive. The threat of pressure is still there. NightEnd, I think, feels that he's not in the most comfortable position. And yeah, well, good times. NightEnd clearly not too happy about this, but really Tefel, he just defended that in a good little position. But well, roaches are coming forward, and really NightEnd shouldn't lose to this, at least with the amount there at the moment. But he's in a tough spot. It's going to be very difficult just for him to come through and take this game, just purely because of the fact that Tefel is skyrocketing in the drone count at the moment, and once it starts coming through, that's going to be really frustrating for him to make it work. A few more sentries are in the mix. We've got, of course, a little bit of a move out now, but even with Immortals on their way through and the robotics play coming out, once this Hydra Den is done, it's going to be a big Roach Hydra play coming down from Tefel, as there are so many more Roaches already on the cards, and it's going to be tough. There are additional gateways on their way through, so NightEnd is going to try and end this game as quickly as he can. But is he going to be able to get up a critical number of units before Tefel is able to get into a good defensive spot? So, Roaches are going for a counterattack, which will mean that they're a bit out of position, but it also means they can come around the back and potentially surround this army. The Overlord does get a good little view there. The Oracle able to get down a quick little bit of vision, but mass recall force as the surround would have come down, and that wouldn't have been good for our Progress player. But now, Hydra's on the way. The Infestation Pit on its way. A quick tech up into Hive possible with the +1 Carapace suggests that it could potentially be going into some Ultralisk style play. That's why you can invest in the +1 attack or missile attack. But well, in now come these Roaches. Good force that's coming down at the moment though from Tefel, and therefore, sorry, from NightEnd, therefore tracking a lot of Tefel's units, able to start picking them apart, dealing with them nice and quickly. But if he moves down that ramp, the concave for the Zerg player is going to do wonders. So really this is NightEnd being contained in his natural. He can't secure up a third. There's already an Overlord puking creep on one of them. He needs to make sure that this base couldn't get taken either. But all while these Hydras are here, there's just such a threatening position. When +1 Carapace comes in too, that'll help. Admittedly, the Colossus aids with a lot of damage if it's able to stay up, but only one Colossus isn't too scary. So, quick little bit of vision coming down there from the Watchtower. It's a good view of what NightEnd's got, but with the robotics bay churning out these Colossi, NightEnd may have a chance if he's able to engage well before any of this Hive tech is able to be secured. So we've got to try and see what NightEnd has planned. He wants to try and get a good engagement position. Note he's got a couple of pylons down here, and that's obviously going to be really helpful for him, but will the War Prism aiding this, giving them more reinforcements, help too? We've got to keep an eye out. That Colossus playing a dangerous game moving forward. The Dance of Death going around in the Watchtower. But Tefel seems to think that he's got enough units to go for this. Pulling back. The Mothership Core has enough energy for a mass recall though, and NightEnd is going to be able to escape with the majority of his units. A couple of Slaughters, unfortunately, going to die. But, well, this is this is still looking very challenging for NightEnd. What he needs to do is take some good engagements or force some good engagements for himself. If he can allow those Colossi to deal a large amount of damage before the Vipers start hitting the field, maybe he can turn this around. The Vipers, though, as they come out, will allow for some great ducks if Tefel can get them in position. But the downside, the challenge to try and get them in position comes from the Stalkers. There's a lot of them there, and that means that if they're focused, the Vipers can get taken out very quickly, and therefore the Colossi can stay safely at the back. So NightEnd just trying to push forward, trying to apply a bit more pain, but there's so many feelings here at the moment, 50 of them on the field, screaming through. Quick little duck goes down, and that was a great position for those Vipers over the cliff, just preventing the Stalkers from focusing them. And now without that splash damage, we see so many roaches, so many Hydras pushing forward, the Speedlings chasing down the vast majority of these Stalkers, and while there is a Colossus there, the second one is not quite out yet. Such a loss losing that first, and things looking good for Tefel. So, Tefel not overstepping his mark because he is getting dropped back at home. This Zealot play did work well for NightEnd in the first game, apart from the counter-attack, but, well, for the moment, a couple more workers have been killed, 27 in total, by so many Zealots dealing a good amount of damage, so Tefel's economy has been hurt pretty bad. And, of course, with that economy getting hurt pretty badly, it actually means that Tefel is in a bit more of an awkward spot because he's down to only 46 drones. So whereas before he was a base up, had an amazing amount of economy, the ability to just keep throwing units, now he's actually got to be quite cost effective. The plus side is, though, the Colossus count isn't huge yet. The third one is about to pop out, but there are 2 Vipers, so 2 can very quickly get taken down if the abducts are good. It's all going to come down to positioning, and pushing up this ramp is great positioning for the Vipers if they can move in. Before they go, one abduct goes down, the first Colossus has died, the other 2 forced to go so far back. But Tefel, again, not overcommitting, he knows his economy is quite fragile back at home, and there is still the option for more Zealot counter pushes to go through. So, Tefel, with these drops coming in, needs to be very cautious. The War Prism coming in towards the natural, these Zealots pushing in from the right, is making things very frustrating, especially these War Prism. Green will get taken down. Tefel is only at the 45 drone mark after losing a good chunk of workers, and all these War Prisms arrive, that threat is still there. But NightEnd has not expanded to a third. His main base is nearly mined out. His natural, to be honest, is starting to get a little bit low. So he's got to take the risk, and that is what NightEnd is going to choose to do now. Get up that third base, try to secure it because he has to. It's not because he wants to, there's no choice. That's the only option. Tefel, though, has now found those proxy pylons, so now only has to worry about this Warp Prism. But while he's got a decent amount of minerals, he just doesn't have the drones yet. Tefel will secure up a 4th base, though, so he's going to be able to stay a little bit ahead and should be able to keep that economic advantage as long as he gets some drones coming through too. But now comes a risky engagement as, of course, the Colossus do get abducted straight into this army. 2 go down, there's only 1 remaining, but units from the flank are doing a great amount of damage. Another abduct goes down, GG is cool, and Tefel is the winner of Go4SC2 Monday. He wins 50 euros, NightEnd 25, but importantly, Tefel advances to the monthly finals 3-1 over his opponent.